Devastating news has broken in the early hours of the morning here in Australia, and I'm sure you've all heard it by now. Paige Bueckers has suffered a season-ending ACL injury, meaning she will have to sit out the 2022-23 campaign. It's truly heartbreaking stuff, considering all the effort that Paige made to get healthy to play in March Madness last season, and then give the Huskies the best shot at winning the championship. I, of course, am sending my prayers and well wishes Paige's way, because this is such a tough loss, not just for the Huskies, but for the game of women's basketball itself, as Paige is truly one of the most influential players in the world when it comes to this sport. However, one silver lining for UConn is that they do have some experience playing without Paige due to her other knee injury that she sustained late last year around December, so that does give us an idea of what UConn's 2023 season may look like, with some further adjustments and potential superstar breakouts, of course. So today, I've broken down some footage and made some key notes about what UConn's season may look like in 2023 without Paige on the floor, for the team as a whole and some key players individually. Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe. For more women's basketball content like this, the WNBA playoffs are right around the corner, so I'm really excited to start breaking down those games and making some predictions for that. But for now, let's talk about Paige Bueckers and the UConn Huskies. While it is terrible that UConn will have to play without Bueckers this season, the silver lining is this team has already faced so much adversity that I find it incredibly unlikely that they simply back down from this challenge. They of course lost Paige last season for a couple of months, as well as AZ Fudd here and there, and then of course in the Elite 8, Dorka Juhas, a key big for them, got injured too. Time and time again, the Huskies have been faced with a new dire situation, but they've almost always come out on top, so I don't expect this injury to mentally hold UConn back. And again, as I mentioned at the start of the video, UConn have played several games without Paige before. So with some key adjustments made by Gino Auriemma, which I'll talk about a bit later, UConn can still genuinely be a top 5 threat to look out for. I'll make it clear that without Paige, I obviously still think that the Huskies will play worse than they would with her, especially to begin the season as they get adjusted. But this team is still loaded with talent top to bottom, and as we saw last year, if players can step up, they can still be genuinely just as dangerous as before. So with that said, let's break down how this injury shakes things up for UConn. When Paige got injured last season, there was a significant over-reliance on her to do everything offensively at the time. So initially, after she was forced out, the Huskies struggled mightily to get the offense rolling. The offense was stagnant. As you can see in some of these clips here, there was just a lack of aggression from players on the court, and perhaps a lack of confidence to be aggressive too. However, after a couple of games, girls like Caroline Ducharme stepped up to take on more of the offensive load, and UConn improved dramatically back to a top 10 caliber team, keying in on ball movement in the half court and trying to punish teams in transition as often as possible, often through outlet passes from players like Olivia Nelson-Ododa, Nika Mule, or Aaliyah Edwards. I imagine this season Amari DeBerry will fill a similar role to Ono, so she should get a buff in minutes, and the same goes for Nika Mule. Paige Bueckers is actually a highly underrated defender. I've made a video on it before, but now with her out of the lineup, that's going to leave not only an offensive void, but a sizable defensive one too. That's why I mentioned Nika Mule here, because I'm fully expecting her to receive far more minutes with Paige Bueckers out. She did get quite a few more in that couple months stretch without Paige last season, of course before she got injured herself, but she will need to step up big time again this upcoming season. Offensively for Nika, she is fantastic at getting out in transition, which I'll explain the importance of in a little bit, but again, forcing turnovers, being a defensive hound, and of course, doing her thing offensively, those are the areas that will be key for her to help the Huskies succeed next season. So expect to see some more minutes from her, especially in lineups that contain AZ and Ducharme. Speaking of AZ and Caroline, as for impact that this injury will have on the players offensively, I think we're going to see a lot more of those two as a starting backcourt tandem. Both of them, in my eyes, should be primary ball handlers for stretches of games too. AZ has shown the capability to be a great on-ball scorer and passer, which with further experience will develop into even better levels than what we currently see from her. Her ability to space the floor will also be crucial for allowing players like Ducharme to have the room they need to succeed. I expect Ducharme to play big minutes next season too. A confident Ducharme is a ridiculous talent. She doesn't shy away defensively and isn't afraid to go into her bag offensively. We may not see big scoring outbursts straight away from Ducharme next season, but as she plays her way into the larger expected role, I think Caroline could be UConn's leading scorer at the end of next year. And overall, her ability to step up to the plate and help fill Paige's void is going to be so important moving forward. Obviously, players like Dorker, freshman Brady, and transfer Lou will all play sizable roles as well on both ends of the floor. But for the most part, from what I saw last season, I think AZ, Caroline, and Nika will be the ones who step up the most to fill the void of Paige Bueckers, and I think Gino Auriemma will appreciate their combination of defense, scoring, and playmaking talent to help do so. But with that said, what could UConn look like next season? I watched back a handful of games that they played without Paige, and there's a couple of instances that I liked, because if they're repeated well, they could assist UConn in overcoming this major blow. This play here, where everyone is spaced on the perimeter, is one I like. It involves several off-ball screens, dribble handoffs, etc. as you can see, just to keep the ball flowing from player to player, opening up the court. Eventually, the DePaul defense falls asleep and it leads to a smart cut from Ducharme, and the Huskies score without contest. As you'll see in some of these other clips too, ball movement was and will be a huge key to the Huskies' success without Paige. It's very much team action rather than relying on a star player. This kind of play maximized the Huskies' versatility offensively and made them unpredictable to guard, as there were so many quality options to run through. That's going to make them dangerous with or without Paige, so I'm expecting this to be a huge part of their game going into next season, just the ball movement in general. As I mentioned before too, getting out in transition will also be vital for the Huskies. Here, off a missed shot, Ducharme gets the outlet and doesn't hesitate, quickly moving up the court into the half court before DePaul's defense can set up. As a result, UConn gets a wide open Nika 3-pointer, and she swishes it. I'll throw some more examples up too of the UConn transition offense, but ultimately, without their number one playmaker, they're going to need to find a way to get easy buckets, as it may not be as easy in the half court. Sure, the extra ball movement will help, and utilizing on-ball skill sets of Ducharme and AZ in the half court should do them just fine, but the more opportunities they can get out in transition, I think the better off they will be. Obviously, I am expecting further adjustments to be made by Gino Auriemma for their offense. I'm just kind of scratching the surface a bit from the gameplay I have available to watch. So luckily, Gino does have a ton of time to do so to get things sorted and ready for opening night. I've done this only in a day. But as was said several times last season when Paige got hurt, the talent for UConn is absolutely there. They've just got to find ways to maximize everyone's potential. And in my opinion, as we saw last season too, that was through transition basketball and good ball movement in the half court. So, while this situation does suck, there is still some serious opportunity for the Huskies to do something special too, and we saw flashes of that last season in the couple weeks leading up to Paige's return. Overall, this could be a tough season for the Huskies, but also one that provides a sparkling opportunity. This is their chance to prove the world wrong, to show that this team is still just as elite, even with the best player in the country arguably off the floor. We could see several fun storylines during the season, from potential big breakouts from AZ or Caroline Ducharme, or the increased minutes for a player like Nika Mule. At the end of the day, as sad as the news is, there is light at the end of the tunnel for the Huskies, and providing that Gina Auriemma makes some good adjustments based on UConn's solid play without Paige last season, the Huskies still have a genuine chance to be contenders in 2023. Now, wouldn't that be an incredible storyline to follow? And that will conclude the video. What do you guys think of this? What are your thoughts on UConn now for this upcoming season? Can they overcome Paige's injury and still be a legit championship contender? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.